Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I have chipped a tooth again. Just about a week ago, I had a chip on one of my teeth, and I had to go to my dentist, who is one of the greatest dentists in the world. And he fixed actually it was like in record time, he fixed, and he's a friend of mine too, he fixed a chipped tooth. Well, here's a piece of information you may not have known about the Digital Asset Investor. One of my front two teeth is a fake tooth. Half of the tooth is fake. And the reason it is because when I was a child, and when you went to a water slide when I was a child, they were made of concrete, most of them. They didn't have these, I don't know what the material's called when you go to a water slide park today, but the water slide parks today have like a rubbery type foundation. But when I was a kid, they were concrete. And I guess the term is to slingshot your head down on the water slide going down it, and it broke half of my front tooth off. And so from that time to today, that tooth is fake. Half of it's fake. So now you know something about the Digital Asset Investor that you didn't know. Now, today I have two very important requests. This is Lindsay, who got in touch with Mr. B, and then I needed to follow her. She was going to send me a message. Her message was that she has a 7-year-old that's stubborn like mine and is set in his ways, and he's also a little baseball player. I'm not going to say his name because I didn't ask for permission for that. But her name is Lindsay, and she has made an official request to be recognized officially on the Digital Asset channel. And this is her title. This will be the first time that I grant a title to a husband and a wife. Here it is. She is the official hairstylist of the Digital Asset Investor channel, and her husband is the official emergency RN of the Digital Asset Investor channel. And so now I have granted them their title, and it is theirs. And by the way, all of you that get titles on my channel, you have to remind me of what your title is every once in a while. And those of you that are making requests, if I miss your request, it's not because it was a bad one. It's just that sometimes I just get too many. But I've got one other title that I'm going to bestow today. And that title is to XRP Ice Man. He asked, many of you know that a lot of times I will go and get hot wings on a Friday night. Hot wings and some beer or I go to get margaritas and cheese dip. Well, he showed me a picture of his hot wings this past week, and I showed him on the channel. He has asked me if he could be the official hashtag Chicken Wing Fridays supporter of the Digital Asset Investor channel. So be it. XRP Ice Man from henceforth will be known as the official hashtag Chicken Wing Fridays supporter of the Digital Asset Investor channel, because I do like some hot wings. Okay, now we're going to talk about digital assets. Jonathan D sent me this at XRP_YD7. Tony Valentino had tweeted this. Now, anytime I see a tweet like this, I have to give you the disclaimer. I don't know if this is true. I don't have any evidence of this, but that doesn't mean, if the way I see things, if it's intriguing enough for me to be interested in the tweet, then I should show it to you all, and you can all make your own decision as to whether this guy doesn't know what he's talking about or whatever. But I like his tweets because he makes you think, and a lot of things he says, you're looking at them going, wow, does he know this for a fact? And that's kind of the question here. He says Swift will begin settling payments via Corda Settler, which uses XRP, and this will be announced on the 23rd of September. I can't even tag Swift or R3, both blocked me. So I like tweets like this for a reason. It's because he will be proven to be right or wrong. Somebody's going to snapshot that tweet, and he's putting his credibility on the line there. So the guy's got some guts. We'll see what happens. And next, I got this from Michael at VAL5 Links. Ha ha ha. The joke's on you. In a briefing in London, one of its spokesmen criticized the entire industry as being useless. They're talking about cryptocurrency. This is the article. Swiss spokesman calls cryptocurrencies useless and unstable. And here's the quote right here. They go down, and if you're hearing thunder, it's because the digital asset investor channel is about to experience a thunderstorm. So if you can go, hopefully the power will not go out while this is going on. The Swift quote from somebody at Swift was this: they go down in value like a yo-yo. They're useless and unstable. And even if crypto companies do make it stable, it's still a basket of currencies. The Swift spokesman said, the only cryptocurrency Swift said has promise, unsurprisingly, is Facebook's forthcoming Libra. For the rest of the industry, the network doesn't see it affecting payments short term. Well, what are they going to say, folks? You know, if you're running a business as important as Swift, you have got to display a certain level of confidence. But the truth of the matter is they know what Ripple's been doing and all of the things that Ripple has been accomplishing, and they know that it's a big deal. And so, but if they really wanted to answer that honestly, then they would have to talk about all the things that Ripple has done and then talk about how it's meaningless, but they won't do that. Okay, moving along. From Bond Crypt, backed futures warehouse with $125 million in insurance policy goes live after years of anticipation. Unlike other futures exchanges, Bakkt will be settling all balances in Bitcoin and not just the fiat equivalent to the price of Bitcoin. Now, this brings up a very interesting point that I don't know that it's been brought up. One problem that this industry has right now is CoinMarketCap and some of these price websites. And the reason I say that is CoinMarketCap, as I sit here, does not factor in what's going on at SBI Virtual Currency. Do they factor in what's going on at Bakkt? How can you get real price discovery if you don't have some place some central place that is keeping up with the actual prices, that is measuring the activity on all of these places? You do not have that right now. CoinMarketCap should answer that question. How can your prices be legit if you are not factoring in SBI virtual currencies? If you're not factoring in Bakkt, how can you be considered to really be showing the real prices? That is a question. You're going to have, my point in all that is we don't have true price discovery yet, but I believe it's coming. Okay, next, this is from Bond Crypt as well. Binance Lending Phase 3, XRP, BNB, LTC, ETC, USDT, and USDC lending products, according to Binance's announcement on 11th of September 2019. The following 14-day fixed-term lending products will become available. XRP Lending. There may be a day you may be thinking about how you're going to sell your XRP. You may never sell your XRP, folks. You may never want to. Okay. I have not watched this yet, but you all need to watch it, and I'm going to watch it too. This was the SEC Chairman Jay Clayton was on, I don't know what this show was. Let's see. SEC Chairman Jay Clayton speaks at the Economic Club of U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Chairman Jay Clayton gives remarks. Okay, now here's what I'll say about this. I like to wait on these kind of things for some of these geniuses in the XRP community to go through them, do the work, so I don't have to do it, and they find all of the interesting things that were said and the quotations. That's how I like to present things to you. Cuts down on the amount of work that I have to do, and it makes it a lot easier for me to present to you. And so I'm sure I'll have some of those by this evening, and if I do, I'll put them in tomorrow morning's video. All right, next from Michelle Vandenberg, we got this. Eric Dadoon, say what you will about MoneyGram, but they have some cards left to play. MGI Visa, Ripple. This is an article about MoneyGram and Visa. MoneyGram announces new debit card deposit service in partnership with Visa. Now this is a monster, folks. MoneyGram, a global provider of innovative money transfer services, today announced the launch of a new debit card deposit service in partnership with Visa. Via Visa Direct, Visa's real-time push payments platform, which enables payments to over 1 billion cards worldwide. Yes, MoneyGram has a lot of cards left to play, folks, and Ripple too. Okay, another interesting tweet. This guy's on fire. Tony Valentino, pre-planned. You have to act surprised. Enjoy the show. I had tweeted out something about this today. This guy says, mind blown. Instead of creating a whole new global currency, central bankers should work to develop a digital currency interoperability. We need a system of decentralized exchange. This guy has literally written an article that the people in the XRP community have been tying all of these things together for over a year now and getting into minute details of what's going on behind the scenes. And CoinDesk is finally just floating out an article about this, a crypto fix for a broken international monetary system. Read that article and see if Ripple is not ringing in your ears. Now, I'm going to go over something here, and I'm going to tie it all together, and I want to float something that I truly do believe. I've said so often for so long on this channel that Ripple is much bigger. Ripple and XRP are much bigger than you truly understand. I've said that a lot. But today, what I'm going to tell you, I think I may have said it one time on this channel, but this is how big I truly, honestly believe that Ripple is. And it's not just me that says this. I've heard this behind the scenes too. I believe that Ripple, in combination with it, and this might sound crazy, sorry, but I'm going to back it up with something here in a second. I believe that Ripple and XRP, I believe that one of their primary functions in the end will have been to prevent World War III. Now I'll make my point, and I'm going to back it up with what I'm about to show you. This is King Solomon at XRP, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you what I just told you. This is King Solomon at XRP_OWL. September 10th and 11th, Ripple to attend banking conference, global imbalances and capital flows in the era of new technologies. Now, when I show you what I'm about to show you, I want you to be just running through the Rolodex in your head and thinking about all of the different central banks and the pictures that you've seen Brad Garlinghouse and the IMF and Russian central bankers in the room and all this. I want you to run that all in your head. Also, I want you to run through your head the article that we talked about a week or so ago from the Philosophy of Metrics, J.C. Collins, where he proposed the idea that Bitcoin was China, Ethereum was Russia, and XRP was not necessarily American, but more of like an alliance of America and Europe and Saudi Arabia, all these places you've been seeing everybody meet, folks. But I believe it might be bigger than that. It might be a totally worldwide cooperation. So at all of that, I want going around in your head while I go over this. Ripple to attend banking conference, global imbalances and capital flows in an era of new technologies. Sharing stage with World Bank and Central Bank of France. This looks important. BIS, Bank of International Settlements, attending. Now here's the slides he's showing you. Banco de España, I guess is how you'd say that. Global imbalances and capital flows in the era of new technologies. But this is what I really want you to pay attention to. Reinventing Bretton Woods Committee. Now, Bretton Woods Committee, reinventing Bretton Woods Committee. What's Bretton Woods Committee? I want to show you what Bretton Woods, many of you that have watched this channel, I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but I just want to read this first paragraph to you, and I want you to think about everything you've seen about Ripple and XRP and everything we've talked about on this channel. The Bretton Woods system of monetary management established the rules for commercial and financial relations among the United States, Canada, Western European countries, Australia, and Japan after the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement. The Bretton Woods system was the first example of a fully negotiated monetary order intended to govern monetary relations among independent states. The chief features of the Bretton Woods system were an obligation for each country to adopt a monetary policy that maintained its external exchange rates within 1% by tying its currency to gold, and the ability of the IMF to bridge temporary imbalances of payments. Let me read this last line for you again. Bretton Woods system, or the features of the Bretton Woods system were an obligation for each country to adopt a monetary policy that maintained its external exchange rates within 1% of it by tying its currency to gold, and the ability of the IMF to bridge temporary imbalances of payments. To bridge temporary imbalances of payments. Also, there was a need to address the lack of cooperation among other countries and to prevent competitive devaluation of the currencies as well. I want you to be thinking about Brad Combs' pre-allocation theory. There was a need to address a lack of cooperation. What if you had a cooperation among several countries and central banks and banks? What if you had a cooperation, and the cooperation was to have a pre-allocation of a digital asset so that everybody had a stake in the game and was going to win as a result? What if? Now, why was Bretton Woods put together? What was this all for? You know, I made a bold statement a few minutes ago. I made the bold statement that I think this is how big Ripple and XRP is. I think it's so big that it is going to help in the prevention of WW3. That's a pretty bold statement, right? Well, what is Bretton Woods? What were the origins of Bretton Woods? Well, let me read you the origin. The political basis for the Bretton Woods system was in the confluence of two key conditions: the shared experiences of two world wars, with the sense that failure to deal with the economic problems after the first war had led to the second, and the concentration of power in a small number of states. Now, folks, let's look around the world at what's going on. This is from Michel Vandenberg. Real U.S. debt levels could be a shocking 2,000% of GDP. A Wall Street report suggests over a shocking 2,000% of GDP. Who trusts the United States as a world reserve currency anymore? Let me read this again, one more time. The political basis for the Bretton Woods system was in the confluence of two key conditions: the shared experiences of two world wars, with the sense that failure to deal with the economic problems after the first war had led to the second, and the concentration of power in a small number of states. Is the power, with the U.S. having the world reserve currency, how long has the concentration of power been in the hands of the United States? What would fix that problem without hurting the United States? Pre-allocation of XRP and a tremendous company like Ripple that's solving the payment systems of the world. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm not crazy. I'm just telling you what I read between the lines, and I know it's kind of shocking. Look, I'm just showing you some more things that are going on around the world. This is from Zero Hedge today. Consumer credit card debt explodes in July despite rates at 18-year highs. And this, the Times, Christine Lagarde takes over at the ECB at a tricky time for the Eurozone. Who has been closer with Ripple than anyone else? Who has mentioned Ripple in a favorable light and been in photos with Brad Garlinghouse? Christine Lagarde. Is it a coincidence that she's now going to the ECB? I don't think so. And finally, now we're getting away from all the serious stuff. I wanted to finish this out by showing you this. I thought this was hilarious. I told you on my channel a while back that when my 13-year-old was little, he was obsessed with sharks. A lot of people called him Shark Boy at the time. And he would watch Jaws over and over. And this particular scene when Roy Schneider was about, when Jaws had the scuba tank in his mouth and he's trying to shoot at the scuba tank before the ship finally goes under. What he says here, and I said it here, he says, Roy Schneider says, "Smile, you son of a bitch." My son, at 3 or 4 years old, however old he was, he heard why you should have bumped. And if you watch this clip, it really sounds like why you should have bumped if you don't know the language the way in the way that a 3 or 4 year old wouldn't know really the language that well. But it's so funny that he posted this. So kudos to, you know what I'm going to do for XRP2D2? I'm going to make him the official R2D2 of the Digital Asset Investor channel. So it is. Okay, and finally, XRP Wizard at Wizard XRP sent me something that I want you all to remember as we go out in this video. Billionaire Mindset: it takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. I know that in this XRP community, there is a tendency, there is almost a gravitational pull to everyone to be negative about things just because the market is down. That's not how I roll. That's not how successful people roll. You can be realistic and at the same time be confident and optimistic about where we are and where we're going. And it takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes nothing to sit on the sidelines and criticize everyone else. That is gutless. That's what cowards do. What successful people do. You know what they do? They get on and they keep on getting on. And they don't stop, and they don't let the opinions of others influence their conviction if they truly believe what they believe. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor, and I do believe. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that it takes absolutely nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. Thank you for listening.